Pick yourself up with Ride Rent a Ebike today and take advantage of the smartest and coolest way to get around. Rental starting for only $30 per hour and less than $100 EC per day. Zip through traffic, save money, and look awesome doing it. Check us out at the Esplanade Mall today. Visit us online at ridersebike.com or give us a call at 473-422-1011. Your wallet and the planet will thank you. Ride Rent a Ebike.
Excursion and Tours weekly e-bike rides. Gather your family and friends for an unforgettable ride through stunning landscapes. Book your adventure today at ridersebike.com or call 473-422-1011. Don't miss out. Let's ride.
Morning, clubbers. I want to say welcome to the Wake Up Club. I know it's been a while. You know, you haven't seen me for a while, but listen, the carnival over, the dust settled, and we are back at it. You know, we're even having talks of adding another day to the Wake Up Club. So you're going to hear about that soon. We have a fantastic program for you this morning. Of course, I have been away. I have been doing a lot of what you would call it, soul searching, trying to find myself, trying to reparent myself. You know, I am 51 years old and, you know, trying to find happiness and sometimes finding that happiness in yourself is tracing it back to when you were most happy. And I felt that I was most happy when I was a child. So, you know, I've been reaching out to relatives that I haven't spoken to in years to try to figure out, you know, listen, what made me happy? You know, maybe it was running in the rain, you know, climbing trees. I don't know, but I've been doing a lot of searching and self-searching, trying to figure out exactly who I am as I move forward in life. Because, you know, I want to find that happiness. And the only time I remember being truly happy was as a child. Yes, I didn't have bills to pay. You know, I was ignorant of a lot of things. So, you know, I didn't have the pressures of life on me. But because I understand the pressures of life, I still want to find that happiness. So I've been doing a lot of searching. And of course, that searching also comes with growth. So I'm trying to find myself. So we're going to do this journey together. We're going to talk everything because I really need to talk about everything that has transpired in my life to make me who I am today. And we're going to talk about it. So we have a great program in store for you. Yeah, we're going to have the segment, What Irks Kirk? And I also have a very good friend. We're talking money this morning. We're going to be speaking with Rhoda Hall. Rhoda Hall is the founder of the Rootly Group. She's a seasoned business professional dedicated to empowering clients with the knowledge to thrive in this emerging digital economy. And you know what I'm talking about. And I'm so glad to have her on because I am even lost sometimes when it comes to the digital economy. She equips women with the strategies necessary to invest and trade in crypto, NFTs, stocks, and options. Rhoda is the co-author of The Secret to Money Mind Connection, and I have that book, and it's a fantastic book that delves into the intricate relationship between mindset and wealth creation. So we're going to be talking a lot of different stuff. And I know she deals with women, but listen, men, you could learn so much. So be patient. So folks, listen, remember, I always tell you to be grateful. And I hope that you're practicing gratitude. You know, I hope that you've taken my advice and you're waking up early in the morning when you're alone with yourself and Papa God, and you're giving thanks and you're reflecting on the things that you are grateful for. I am grateful this morning for good health. I am grateful for knowledge, understanding. I'm grateful that I am questioning life. and I'm questioning who I am, because I think sometimes it's important. A lot of us don't know who we are. We've never asked ourselves different questions. We've never asked ourselves, listen, what's your favorite color? How do you feel about this? How do you feel about that? A lot of us go through life not even knowing who we are. So sometimes you need to write those questions down and answer them, so you know exactly what it is you like, what it is you dislike, what it is you love the most, what it is you enjoy doing. What's your favorite meal? Some of us don't even know, we just think about something exotic when somebody asks us that question, and we bring it up, but really and truly, that is not my favorite meal. Like, I discover my favorite meal is cuckoo callaloo and steamed fish. Yes, it might sound exotic to some of you all. You all want me to say something Italian or something like that, but because I have thought about it and I've reflected on it, I could safely say that my favorite dish is cuckoo callaloo and some steamed fish. Listen, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about what irks Kirk. We'll be right back, lovers. Welcome back, clubbers. And of course, you're tuned into the Wake Up Club. We are very appreciative of you joining us. I know you have options. We're happy that you're tuned into, of course, the Ride Along Network, where we're bringing you information, entertainment, all sorts of stuff constantly. Now, you also have the opportunity to tell us what you want us to speak about in the comments, so we can get some insight from you as to the direction, the things that concern you, the things that bother you. Now, this segment is called What Irks Kirk, and let me tell you what bothers me. And it bothers me because I have also been a victim of it. Now, a couple weeks ago, a friend of mine made a post on Facebook. She posted about this predator that had been stalking her daughters in the back of her home. That this gentleman had been peeping into the daughter's bedroom, that he had no right to be in the back there, and that he kept doing it. She even had him on videotape, and she had called the authorities, but nothing was being done, so she actually posted it on social media. Now, I'm not exaggerating. After she posted this gentleman's photo, and I'm not going to call his name, after she posted his photo and this video, several women reached out to her via social media, talking about being a victim of this man, being raped either as a child or as an adult by this gentleman. Yes, a lot of them never reported it because, of course, we have something that we kind of encourage, and I think a lot of us don't understand it, shame culture. So she posted this situation with this man stalking her daughters, teenagers, and the amount of women, and I'm not exaggerating, I was shocked as well, because she showed me the messages, the amount of women that reached out to her saying that this man abused them, either when they were going to school, broke in their homes, raped them. A lot of them, the majority of them, never came forward. And I understand it. I understand shame culture. When I was sexually molested as a child, I didn't say anything too because I was ashamed. And even more ashamed because I'm a man and it's not supposed to happen to me, much less a woman. Now, I know I'm supposed to get animated because a lot of you all enjoy the animated Kirk. But I'm not animated. I am sad. It's a mixture of anger and sadness that this predator is out there and has been doing this to young women in Grenada for so long. Eventually, the police spoke to him, but of course, unless he do something, nothing can be done. And that's what's sad. It's very, very sad that sometimes that is what the police will say to you. So unless he holds your daughter down and rapes her and destroys her life, nothing can be done. You wonder why there's so much vigilante justice that happens in the world. But let me tell you something. This carnival, and I have to say alleged, even though I know what I say, this gentleman brutally raped a woman. Now I am so angry, and this irks me, because this could have been my friend's daughter. But you know what irks me even more? The shame culture that exists. Because a lot of those women didn't speak out because they were afraid, okay? They were afraid of being judged by many of us. They were afraid of the stigma of living in a small island like us, with the neighbor and everybody knowing that they were raped or sexually molested, okay? And the stigma that carries. So this man is free to roam Grenada how he wants. Now I'm really hoping that the police lock him away for good this time, because he's destroying our young women. And not one or two or three or four or five. Could you imagine the countless others that didn't even speak up? Because more than half a dozen spoke up silently on my friend's post. So that's what irks me this morning. It irks me that these predators get away. Oh yes, peeping your daughter through the window. He's stalking behind your house all 2-3 in the morning. But the police can't do nothing about it unless he did something. Unless he brutally destroyed her life. That's what irks me this morning. And it probably will irk me for the rest of the year, because it saddens me. I know you like the emotional, crazy Kirk. This is the sad Kirk. This is the angry and sad Kirk. That these predators are allowed to roam free in Grenada. But let me tell you something. I understand why some people just take matters into their own hands. And I really hope that the police will deal with this man and lock him away for a long time. And you women out there, I understand what that shame is like. Because I understand who our people are and how they treat us. Okay? We are the victims of a crime, and then they make us feel less than, or they look down on us, or they judge us for the rest of our life, and they put a stigma on us that, hey, that little boy was molested, you know. That little girl, she was raped, you know. And then you're no longer a good product anymore. And you all know what I'm talking about. We gotta fix it. And all you just wonder why things happening in Grenada, and goodness gracious, Grenada, God from Grenada. Too much sin. That is why the country in the situation it's in. Too much sin, too much thing we hiding. The only thing we want to run we mouth on is the government this and the government that. The only time I hear from them churches is when they have a crusade or something. I don't hear them pastors talking about issues that they should be talking about. I don't hear them preaching. I don't hear them being shepherds and men only on the pulpit. They even bring in politics in the church. I want them to open the church door and start to do some healing outside the church. Open the damn door and go out on the street where you're supposed to be. Watch your leader's example, Jesus Christ's example, and open the damn church door and go out on the street and heal the friggin' nation. Because a lot of our children suffering. A lot of our people suffering. And let me tell you something. When you're suffering with that internal pain and that shame, a lot of things in your life don't go right. Because you can't focus on a lot of things. Listen, I could go on and on. Okay? But that's what irks me. We got to fix it. We got to stop shaming people or victimizing victims. And families, you need to stop protecting the predators among you. Stop it. We're going to take a quick break, clubbers. And when we come back, we're going to be chatting money matters with my very good friend, Rhoda Hall. We'll be right back. Welcome back, clubbers, to the Wake Up Club. We're going to be joined now by my very good friend, Rhoda Hall. Rhoda, welcome to the Wake Up Club.
Hey, Kirk. Thank you for having me.
Listen, I just had to sometimes I think I had to tell Junior sometimes after the what irks Kirk, I need a little 2 or 3 commercials because I just had to kind of shake myself off what it is I just spoke about. But listen, I spoke about all the accolades and I forget to mention the greatest one. You are Grenadian. And I like to celebrate Grenadians doing great things out there. So First of all, congratulations. Welcome to the Wake Up Club. We're going to be chatting money matters this morning.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where from we start? Where in Grenada you're from? I know a lot of people know you because I met you was it last year? Lexan had this woman empowerment conference.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And it was for women, but I was doing the decor, so I was there. And let me tell you something, that was one of the best sessions I'd ever been to, you know, and that's where I met you. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your Grenada background.
Well, you know, we used to run into each other a lot with performances and all of that stuff, but that's when we finally got to talk one-on-one, and it was beautiful. Uh-huh. So thanks for that. So I'm from Gulf Coast, Southside. Okay. I'm from Gulf Coast. I grew up in Gulf Coast. Most people know my mom. She is a pillar in the community, still around. Miss Junie. I'm Miss Junie's daughter. And a lot of people outside of who I went to school with at the convent in St. George's know me as Michelle. So if you see
Michelle,
they know me as Michelle in Gulf Coast and in the South Side. Anybody that grew up with me know me as Michelle. So and then once I went to convent, and so they told me I had to use my government name, so I had to use Rhoda. So a little bit more about me. I went to, like I said, SJC in St. George's, class of 93. We just celebrated our 30th reunion last year. A group of us got together. Shout out to class of 93. After that, I went to, and I graduated really young because I kept skipping classes and stuff. After that, I went to national, well, back then it was called Time CC, and pursued my A levels. And right afterwards, after trying to find work and all that stuff, I ended up teaching at Time CC.
Okay.
So I taught in the lab and I taught mathematics. So I taught math. That was my thing, math. A lot of people know me as that as well. I did add math. I taught in the different sections, continuing education at the college. I did the secretarial department. And so I taught math for a while. And one of my biggest things, I was involved with Spice Island Youthquake. Back then, I toured with them in 1998 in the European tour. So I played a lot. So that's where we ran into a lot of the cultural stuff. So a lot of people know me as the guitar girl.
Okay.
Playing at the Grand Dance, Blessed Sacrament RC Church. I played there. I played guitar and pan. And while we on pan, I played with NC. Back then, it was NCB Angel Harps. So I have a mix of things, my music and my pan. And some people know my nephew just entered the groovy and did really well, Jerrington, in the music
Okay. Good,
drummer.
good, good.
So he has the music on both sides. So shout out to him. Most people know my brother and my sister as well in the community. So that's a little bit about me for those. And I left Grenada in '99, and I've been going back and forth, back and forth. Right now, I went to Texas. So right after Time CC, I went to school in Texas. Most Grenadians go to that particular university called Midwestern State University. I spent 2 years there, and after that, I got accepted into a fellowship. I got a fellowship, and I can get into that later. It's different to a scholarship. You get everything paid for. You don't have to
Okay.
worry about a thing. They pretty much pay you to go to school. So I went to WashU. I had one of the highest fellowship that you could win at the time. It's academic. It's called the Chancellor's Fellowship. So I went to a school named Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri. Quite a few Grenadians went there as well with me. And I pursued my graduate studies. And so I got two master's degrees from that university under the fellowship, no student loans. It can be
Yeah.
done. And from there, I worked as an engineer for 13 years. So I'm well respected in the wastewater space. So I did a lot of work for the sewer district here. They were my biggest client. I did work in St. Louis and Arkansas, a lot of the Midwest states. I did work there for 13 years. And back in 2020, I decided, okay, I need to focus on my daughter.
Okay.
I am a mom as well, a proud mom. My daughter is in the U.S. Air Force, and she's currently stationed in South Korea. So I took the time in her latter years of high school. I just, walked away from my engineering career to focus on her. And afterwards, I decided I was going to focus on my mom. And now I'm focusing on me. So you see me back and forth, Kirk, back and forth. People see me spending quite some time at home with my family, my mom, and just living life. And the reason I was able to do that is because I planned financially. I planned for it. I was saying ever since I was younger, I was saying I was going to retire at 50, but it happened way before that. I took a leap of faith, had failures along the way. I don't like to call it failures. Yes, I
Lessons.
didn't work out. I had lessons. That's why we put that in the book. And so I just learned from that. And in doing so, I say, you know what? I love this. I love dealing with finances, the stock markets, the crypto markets, and helping
But
people.
but listen, we got to talk about that because I think a lot of us Caribbean people, not only Grenadians, our parents shielded us from the reality of finances. Our parents protected us. Our parents sometimes struggle to put food on the table, and they didn't share that with us. All we knew is we got a meal. And as a result, a lot of us, including myself, we struggled with our finances saving, investing, a lot of these things because we didn't have the knowledge. No one taught us how to do that. We live in a world right now, and that's why I was happy to have you, where, I dabble with the investment and stuff like that. Sometimes I'm lucky, sometimes I'm not, but I have no training in it. And I know a lot of people are looking to invest and trade, but they don't know what to do, how to start, and where to go. So I'm telling you, the ball is in your court this morning, because I am just as interested in trying to figure this out. So tell us.
Well, to get started, it's interesting. Our parents taught us in a subtle way. We had to observe what they were doing, and really with my mom, I know with my mom, she worked as a housekeeper all her life, and just looking at her doing little things is not until, like you said, later in life I realized what she was doing. Like, she would always be putting aside money. She would talk about, oh, I'm putting aside money for a rainy day, or I want to save for my house. I remember back in the day, there was building a loan that she signed up with there, and she had an account there. She was putting aside money for her house. So I say that to say is, first we have to, dismiss the whole shame around money that, a lot of times we grow up, we hear that money is the root of all evil, money is bad, money is this. So that's the first thing we have to shatter. Money can be used for evil, but money is very effective. You need it flowing in and out. So we have to really deal with, people find this when I start off this way, we have to deal with the shame around money and let it go.
Okay.
And some people hold on to money. Oh, I gotta hold on to money because I work so hard. I don't want to do it. Yes, you work hard for it, but you have to understand that money is just a flow through, a pass through. So you have to allow it to go in and out and in and out. So let's start there. And then the second thing I would say to people, you have to understand, just like a business, where your money is going, how much is coming in, and then where it's going. And we have to become stewards of our money. Understand, don't bury it, oh, I get paid today and I just spend it on bills and that's it. And then I live my life. And no, you have to know where it's going so you can get more of it. You could split it up and you can have a good time. Kirk, you see me? I come home, I have a good time, So I think that's a good place to start. I don't like to say budget because just like diet, when you say budget, people get scared. So I just say find a way to understand how your money coming, what money you have coming in, and then what money you have going out, where it's going at all. Even if you do an inventory or once a month, I like to do mine on the 15th and the 30th of the month to keep me going that way. Just from since back in, if you have a job and you get paid bi-weekly, take a day every time you get paid, see where that money is coming in and then where it's leaving. Start there. Once you start there, then you could start branching off. You could see where you are. I remember at the same Lexan conference, a young lady came up to me and she said she just had a divorce. She has kids and she didn't know where to start. She was like, I have so much debt. And she said she's so frustrated and she's so stressed out. And I've been there. I've been there in debt twice.
Okay.
I went through a divorce where it left me in a lot of debt. And yes, I had money coming in, but all that money was just going into debt. And I thought that was the end of it. And Kirk, I didn't say anything. I was silent. I was ashamed. I was ashamed to reach out to family and friends. I was suffering in silence. And that's another thing too. We have to, put that shame aside. So I had to do the work necessary and start speaking about what was happening. And to that young lady, I was telling her, you could get out of debt and also invest at the same time. And a lot of people say, well, I'm in Grenada, what could I invest in and different things? Your banks, start with your banks. Your banks, like for example, I was just looking at a program with Ariza Credit Union, and I'm not I'm not getting paid for this or anything, but I just want to give you a quick example. And they have different things. So for the students, you can start now. I did a lesson with students from Grenada, from all the high schools. I had 110 of them. And I was telling them something as a riser, there is an education savings. You could start setting aside money. If you get $1, you could set aside 10 cents of that dollar towards a saving, but it goes back. You have to have goals. So after you realize what's coming in and coming out, you have to have goals, and you see, okay, I have a debt here. Then you start setting up short-term goals, long-term goals. I want to get out, I want to pay off this bill, or pay off this credit card, or pay off whatever debt or loan you may have. But I have such and such time, I'm going to put this amount of money into it. Start setting goals for yourself. And then after that, in the meantime, you could see what other instrument you could start investing in. Even in Grenada, the Eastern Caribbean Exchange is the Caribbean version of the New York Stock Exchange. You could actually invest there through your bank. So some of the banks, a couple of the banks have act as a broker for that. And you can go and tell them, hey, I want to start putting aside some money to invest here. So you don't put your eggs in one basket. In a nutshell, you have to mix things up. You have some savings, you have some in and investing. Some people will call me and say, look, brother, I have this amount of money I want to invest. You may have enough to invest in a piece of land. And I tell people, don't just buy the land and have the land sitting there and say, hey, I have land, if you're not in the land. Because if you have the land sitting there and it's doing nothing for you, is what I call it's not investing. Yes, you have the piece of land, but what is the land making you money in the meantime if you didn't build a property on it? I have friends who have land in Grenada, they're abroad, they lease it out to young people. So this is how you can help young people and others looking for a job. My friend, they lease their land out to farmers. So they get money out of it. So that's passive income. That helping them pay back for the land while they're away and they're not sure what they're going to do with the land yet, or they're not ready to build. So those are little examples, Kurt, and then I can really delve into different things. And I know we have Grenadians in the diaspora listening. If you're in the US, you can invest in stocks, you can invest in the crypto market, and you can invest in other like savings, fixed deposits, similar to Grenada. The banks have that as well, where you putting up your money for a certain period of time, and you get like starting at 2% and up. So I could get into different things, but you have to, we can get into specifics now. So that's where I say you could start. You have
because I think a lot of people, when we're a multimedia world right now, and you're seeing all these people talking about investing in crypto, and they become millionaires overnight, and some of that is fictional, okay? Some of it is real, and also I think we've had instances here in Grenada where there have been companies that offer these unrealistic returns that people have invested in and lost their money. So I know that there's also that fear of what is legitimate. A lot of us, we work so hard for our money. So the fear of losing that money is there. But then money in the bank that ain't doing nothing for you isn't doing anything as well. So there is that fear.
Yeah. And I remember when I remember speaking to a few people, and they said, well, we lost our money in that. We know what we're talking about. There was some insurance deal. And I have family members who lost money there. And sadly, because of they spoke a good game, some people put their entire life savings into it. And that became, and I could see that fear is still there. And that's part of the reason why we came up with the book as well, that guided journal, is that how do you have to get past that fear and trauma of losing money. When it comes to investment, you're going to lose, even when it comes to saving, there are times you're going to lose, because like you said, the money is just sitting there, and some of these banks give you like 0.01% You put it in your money, then you're not getting good interest back on it. So that's where diversifying comes in. You have to diversify. You have to have some in savings. You have to have some in cash. You have to use certain instruments, understand instruments of insurance. And I encourage everyone to have insurance as a way of leaving legacy. So many
Okay.
times people pass away and their family members left with their death can't even bury them because they didn't have insurance. So I highly encourage people to have life insurance as well. But there are other types of insurance that comes with like a growth investment vehicle attached to it. So it's all about doing those research and finding things that work for you. So another thing, Kirk, you have to know who you are as an individual. Some people
Mm-hmm.
take risk. They're very aggressive when it comes to investing and stuff. They don't mind. They will take high risk. Those are aggressive. There are different investment vehicles for you. So the high risk takers, you may see them in crypto because it's more volatile, it's high risk, high reward. Um, and then you have the people who are conservative. So don't let people, when you look and you're talking to your financial advisors, or if you want to venture out for yourself, do not be discouraged by folks telling you, nah, get into this, get into that. No, 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 no. You have to know who you are as a person. If you're conservative, then I recommend sticking with your savings, but have a plan. Have a long-term and a short-term plan. So you know who you are, then you know your number. I always tell people, know what your number is, meaning what number can you survive with comfortably. Your bills are paid, and you have savings, you have some investment, and you can live your life, do the things that you enjoy doing. But like Kirk, you like to travel. So have that in your number, and also put in your number health and wellness. You have to take care of you. So include that in your number, include your insurance and stuff in your number. Like if you want that like to go to the gym, include that in your number and go from there. So if you're working a 9 to 5, or even if you have a business, but for people working a job, with your number, you calculate your number. Sometimes it might be time when you calculate your number and you see that you're not meeting your number per month, time to go ask for a raise. And that's another
Mm-hmm.
thing, Kirk. A lot of people in Grenada and abroad, they're afraid to ask for raises. I was one of them. I worked for years knowing my value, and I didn't ask for a raise until later on in my career. I worked for 13 years in the engineering field. I didn't ask for a raise maybe until year 9. You know
Oh
what?
shoot.
Because and most women are like that. That's why a lot of times we find out that we're the least paid. We're afraid to ask. You know, you need to ask. What's the worst that could happen? They tell you no. But don't just ask. If you know you weren't doing a good job, don't go asking those people for a raise. But what I tell people is start with a brag folder. Have a brag folder. I tell my friends that all the time. And every time the client commend you or send you an email and say, Kirk, you did a great job today, put that in your brag folder. And when the time comes, when you go ask for your raise, say, look, this happened, this happened, this happened. Because a lot of times your supervisor may not put in a good word for you to get that raise. So we have to speak up. So you could only do that if you know your number and you know what you need to hit every month to live a free lifestyle, live in peace. So you're not worrying. And again, so knowing who you are, then you could start branching out into the different things. Now, maybe you decide you want to be a trader like I am. I invest and I trade. So what's the difference? Investing is putting your money into something at a low and expecting over time, maybe 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that particular thing is going to increase in value. So let's say you bought something at $1. 10 years from now, you expect it to be worth $100, right? So that's investing. Trading, you're actively involved in the market. I am sitting like when the market opens at 8:30 my time, I'm looking at a chart and I'm looking at clues to tell me, okay, this Apple share is going to be going up. And so as soon as my confirmation hits, I enter the trade and it goes up. I make my profit, whether it's 20%, 10%. Sometimes some days are great. I may hit 100+%. When it gets to a certain point, I take my profits and that's it. So that's trading. Trading, you actively involved in the market.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I think that a lot of people don't understand the difference. I have tried it. I know that trading is not for me,
Right.
because it requires constant attention. Okay. Like, I see my brother does it because he can sit and he could look at that the entire day. And I'm like, that's a job within itself. I'd be trading and it'd be going up and I'd gone about my business. And by the time I look around, I've lost everything.
Right.
Because you have to actively be monitoring. So as you said, we have to know ourselves. And I'm so glad you brought that up. Investing, I think, is more along the line for me.
Right.
Instead of the trading. Now, I know you could do it and you could pay attention and know your figure as well. So I'm glad you said that. The same way I encourage people to understand who they are. A lot of people have never sat down and looked at their lifestyle and their income and kind of spread it out to see where they are. A lot of people just living how they're living. And then also, you spoke about the banks. A lot of people, unless you have hundreds of thousands of dollars, the bank fees, so you have a little $3,000 in the bank, okay? If you're not paying attention to that, in a couple of years, that $3,000 is gone, because the fees the banks are having now far outweighs the interest that is being paid. So I'm also glad you mentioned that, because a lot of people get shocked. I remember when I left to go to university, I left a couple $1,000s in my account. And when I came back, I was hoping to have the account was closed. Because there were so many fees coming out for non-activity and all of these different things. And I think a lot of people are not aware of these things. Simple things like that I know we're talking money management and investing, but so many simple things that a lot of people are not aware of. Banks are changing their policies. They're doing all these different things, and it's just in the fine print.
Right.
So,
Yeah, and I'm glad you say that, because you have to pay attention. That's why I say do your inventory twice a month. I highly encourage that. And it goes with your banks. I had a similar situation too. And our elderly mom, she not into like online banking and stuff. So she had a rude awakening as well. I had to go up in the bank and really, get into them. And come on, why are you messing with the elderly like that? She thought she had a certain amount of money in there. And then I really had to explain to her. And so what you find is a lot of people start having cash at home, which again is not the safest thing, So like you said, you have to pay attention to fees. And for those even with retirement and insurance, you have to pay attention with the fees. And for the people in the US and Canada, those of you in your retirement account, you have to check on your fees as well, because the fees compound just like your investment in those retirement accounts. So if you with NIS, any retirement account you have, like with Pop Bank in Grenada, they have retirement accounts that you can put into. Always ask them about fees, and they have to reveal the fees to you. They cannot hide the fees. They have to, once you ask, they have to explain it to you. And so you have to monitor that. You can, like you said, these fees add up. So, and you could always negotiate. There are a lot of banks there. They have, a lot of them will have checking and savings accounts that have no fees or zero fees, but automatically sometimes they put you into the default one that they know they're going to make their money on and have fees with, or will change. They may tell you no fees, and then after a year or so in the fine print say, then you're going to start getting fees, or if your minimum goes down to that point. So you always have to be vigilant, and don't be afraid to move your money out. If they start putting fees on you, take your money out and find a credit union, find another bank that has that. But the way to curb that is that you have to be very vigilant and check your statements, check your bank statements to see. And for the people in the US with your 401ks, a lot of times they put you in what they call the funds, the default fund. So if you, let's say you're 30, you start working, they say, okay, you're 30, in 30 years, or in 35 years, you're going to be 65. So they put you in these kind of funds. Well, they put you in the funds that will make the most money to them. So you have to also look and be vigilant about that. And I tell people, when you take classes, or you book people like me and you take these classes, take the classes to understand how investment and money work, so you can ask questions. A lot of times I had a class with a group of ladies, and when I really broke down, all I was doing is showing them how to read their 401k. The amount of fees, Kirk, they were in funds. The fees were like 1%, 1.25%. And when I show them a calculator and say, okay, when you retire, you're gonna have this. This is what you get it. Most of the money was gone into fees, back end fees, front end. So they didn't even know they had front end fees and back end fees.
Back end fees.
So you have to ask about all those things, whether you're in Grenada or abroad. Front end fees. What is going to cost me up front? And when I'm ready to take my money out, how much is going to cost me to take my money out? Canada, similar thing. England, similar thing. I'm seeing comments coming in. So you have to ask those questions. So what I tell them is, when you understand the markets, I don't care what market you're in, whether if you're in farming, whether everything has its season when it's up, and then it has its season when it's down. Think about it that way. That's why in Grenada, we don't hunt certain things at certain period, because we have to give it time to replenish, right? Similar to the markets. So some things like around July and so in the stock markets here in the US, you find tech stocks are booming. So your Microsoft, the Nvidia, the big tech stocks, your Apple, they're gonna be booming. And then there's a period when those stocks are not, they're down, right? And so the same thing goes for your portfolio and your retirement accounts. You have to see what funds, we call it rebalancing your portfolio. You have to shift it around, you can move your funds around so that you're maximizing and you're not incurring too much losses. And the same thing goes for if you into savings and stuff like that. Move it around. When you check and do that inventory, you have to move it around to see what is giving you the best bang for your money, So people with the retirement funds, go back, look at it, see what sort of fees you have. If you're in those targeted, they call it the targeted funds, try to get out of that and mix up your funds with things that you want a large cap, and that large cap meaning that it has the big companies like the Facebook and the Apple and the Nvidia. Smaller cap, you have smaller companies, smaller startup tech companies. You want to have a small portion of that. So diversify your accounts, even if it's inside of your retirement portfolio. And again, ask about fees. You want to find the index funds and the funds with the least amount of fees. There are ones out there with 0.025%, 0.1%. You really want to be under 0.25, really. So that's how I encourage people. You have to be involved with your money, like you'll be involved in everything else. But don't be afraid. Some people get afraid. It's like, Lord, I get paid. I don't even want to see, because I know it's a set of bills I have to pay. So you have to get past that, bite the bullet, and see where things are going, and then you could spread out.
Definitely, and I think that we're giving a lot of information now, but I think that we definitely going to have to do a future program where I do some work and I look at the different accounts and the different things, and we could seriously sit down and evaluate some of the banks in Grenada and what they offer to decide what is best for people. Right. Because I know the average person listening here is saying, yes, a wealth of information, but where do I start, Kirk? Where do I start, Rhoda? How do I even know what it is I'm paying the banks? Nobody's regulating the banks, we are subject to whatever they do. They're changing policy, they're adding fees. We're now paying to keep our money in the bank.
Yes, and people, and so you have to shop around, see what. So today we leave with this. You have to know who you are. You have to understand your number. So in this segment, I really want people to take that away. Know who you are as a person. Like Kirk said, he get panic when the market going up and down. If you like that, day trading is not for you. Just invest, buy on the low, let your money sit over time, and then when it rises up, don't get greedy. That's another thing. Get caught up. I lost a lot of money because I greed, thinking, oh, it's up, it's gonna go up some more. When it go up, that's why you have to have an end goal. So anything you invest in, have an end goal. What am I going to do? When am I going to collect profits on this investment? Now, some investment, like a piece of land, you may say, okay, you still have to have a goal for it. If you have land and say, okay, I want to be generating $500 a month extra on this piece of land, what do I have to do? Maybe I have to rent it out, build and rent out my property as an Airbnb or rent it out to a farmer, lease it out to something, do something with it that will generate income. So I want people to do that, understand, set your goals, but you have to know who you are, know what your number is. So you really have to know what's going in, what's going out, see how much you're spending in fees with these banks, and start shopping around. Trust me, if y'all take out all your money in the banks that charging you high fees and go somewhere else, that forces them to have to drop it, because then they won't be making money off of you. And then really take some time to, if you have debt, to really look at your debt. Now that we have to get into that in a different, there's good debt and there's bad debt. That's what we call it. So things like a car, things that depreciates in value, like go down in value, like a car, or like, you just go and take out a loan from the bank to play mass. After that, you have to throw away the costume, and then you have that debt. That's bad debt. Good debt is when you're leveraging something. For example, when I was ready to go study in Texas, I needed some extra money for living expenses. My mom put up her property. She took a chance on me and put up her property as leverage, as collateral, so I can get that loan to go study. But I have to pay it back. That's good debt, because I'm investing in something that will benefit me in the long term, right? So back to what I was saying, you have to, if you're in debt, you have to really analyze your debt. So that's what I want people to take away from this call, and really go and dig in. Know what is your net worth, what accounts do you have. If you people in Grenada, are you signed up with NIS? Is your company paying you NIS? And you don't even have to be with a public entity or private entity for them paying NIS for you. You can go pay NIS for yourself. We found that with our mom later on in life, especially for the elderly folks in jobs like the housekeeping and stuff. If you're working privately, you can go in there and tell them to set up an account for you. And you have to monitor that, ask questions, see what the fees are, and really break it down. And if you can, reach out to someone and really ask them to explain things for you, to make sure that you're really into some things and preparing yourself for the future. Simple thing as the Lacroix Burial Society. I think they still have that, You can be starting to put aside a little bit of money. And no, people don't want to talk about debt, and they think, oh, if I do a will, if I start planning my estate and my funeral, I'm gonna die. No, we have to lose that stigma. You just don't want to leave your family, especially your children, in hardship. So start, burial society. You put in. I know that you could put in whatever you make, whatever you could afford. A little goes a long way. But right now, from this call, figure out who you are, know your number, do that inventory. Just take a day and dig into your finances. Know what you have. At the end of the day, what your net worth is, and your net worth, see what everything that you have coming in, and subtract your debt from it, and see if you're in the positive or negative. Don't feel ashamed if you're in the negative. We're not shaming you. Don't feel ashamed. Get an accountability partner. Say, hey, what do we have to do now to get my feet off the ground? And then you could start investing. And start small. You could start, opening up a fixed deposit, or regular savings. Start there. And then you could move on. Now that you build up everything, then you can see later on, you could start investing. The Bahamas Securities Exchange, they have an app now called Prosper. I remember introducing that to a group of Grenadians. If you're interested in investing in
What's
the
it called again?
Prosper, Prospur. You can download it on your app and you can start with as little as $25. And you can invest in stocks like Apple, stocks on the US stock market. Again, don't put all your money into one basket. Don't and put in money there that you could afford to lose. So if you say you put in $100 and it somehow you lost it, you're not hurting to pay mortgage or hurting to pay rent. That's what we mean when we say don't put risk money in investment that you can afford to lose.
Okay.
So you can start there. That's a good place to start if you're interested in the stock markets and stuff. And they're backed by the Bahamas Securities Exchange, so they have some protection. Again, when you're looking at these things, is not a get rich quick scheme. It's just something to get you started. And so think long term when you're investing. It's long term. It's long term. It's not now. So the people that come in and tell you, give me your $500 and I'm gonna put it in crypto for you and you're gonna make $1 million. It's probably a Ponzi. It's a scheme. And Kirk, we have a mutual friend. She reached out to me a few months ago. There was somebody posing, talking about Grenada trade. Give me your money, I can invest in Bitcoin. Well, just how the bank's charging you fees in Grenada, they're blocking you from, they're not crypto friendly. So we haven't gotten to that space in the Caribbean yet where banks are crypto friendly. So if somebody come in and tell you something about give them money and they're going to invest it for you and flip it to $100,000,
Watch out.
watch out. So that's what I strive for. I teach people how to spot scams because I hate when people, innocent people lose their money. Like you say, they want to invest in something they don't know what to invest in, and these scammers come around and get them for the little savings they may have, inherited, or they work hard and put their money aside and just scam them. That irks me. It really does. So I really teach people how to spot those things,
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, we're almost out of time.
Oh,
I didn't
Lord,
take any
already?
breaks because this is very, very informative. And I said we're gonna have to do some other sessions as we go forward.
Yes.
Because I think sometimes we have to, I always say I'm a blogger, I'm not an investigative journalist, but I think that I may have to put on that hat as well, because there's a lot of people that might say, oh my God, you guys talking over my head. Break it down for me. Tell me which bank to go to in Grenada that has the best savings account. Okay?
Yeah.
Which has the best. And it's probably something that we will have to do as time progresses.
Yes.
Now, I really like the fact that you've said we've got to identify who we are first. And that's the first form of investment. Understanding who you are. And that's investing in yourself. Short time, we're almost out of time. Last parting words.
So my last parting words, I see people asking how they can reach out to me in the program. And I think Kirk put it in there. But if you're in the US, you can call me at 314-730-6781. It's not a WhatsApp number, unfortunately, but you can reach out to me there. You can email me at info at Ruthly Group, RUTHLEYGROUP.com. And you could follow me on social media. So I see some of my folks calling me Misha. That's my Southside folks. You can find me not as Misha, but as Rhoda Hall on any social media platform and reach out. And then we can go from there. We can do a sit down. I also have a blog that I put out every week called the Rhoda Report. If you Google that, you can find it. Kirk is going to put the link for that in there as well. So yes, definitely have to come back. And my parting words is, I want to tell people, money is in abundance for us. Don't feel, and for those of you who think, oh my goodness, I'm down, I'm struggling in debt and I don't know what to do, or I need to make more money or stuff like that. Don't get discouraged. I've been there. Just take the time to figure out who you are, take the time to delve in, keep it positive. Money likes positivity. Even though you're going through some hard times don't last forever. So just figure out who you are, take an inventory, see where you are, and then go from there. Start setting short-term goals. So even if you start tackling one debt, one credit card at a time, do that. Focus on that, knock it off. See what other things you can do. Maybe you may need a second job or so. And delayed gratification. Sometimes you have to delay certain things. You may want to go and kick it or fet next week with your friends and stuff, and you have to say no. You have to put it aside for a little bit. Sometimes you have to delay that gratification to get out of that hole, or get out of that lump. And for those of you who are not struggling, doing really well for yourself, kudos to you. And I just say to still know who you are, still understand your number, and still look out for your retirement. Some people are doing well, but they're not thinking about long term when they retire, what they want to do, where they want to be. Do that. Start taking stock of that. And yeah, so that's my parting words. And be kind. Be kind. Look out for each other, because that's the thing I'm seeing a lot these days. We're so unkind on social media when we meet people. Be kind. Somebody said they didn't get my number, 314-730-6781.
Okay.
And so those are my parting words.
Well, listen, I really appreciate you folk. All her details are on my page. It's also going to be shared on the Ride Along page as well, in terms of how you can contact her. This is not going to be the first time you're seeing her on the Wake Up Club, because I think that this is an important aspect of who we are as a people now: investing, saving, managing our money, understanding who we are as a people, who we are as persons. I started the program saying some of you don't even know what your favorite color is, because you've never sat down and asked yourself what your favorite color, your favorite meal, what do you like to eat,
Right.
So you don't even, some of us have never sat down and said, well, okay, I make $900 a month, I pay this in rent, I pay that in rent, this is how much I could spend on entertainment.
Right.
Okay. And investing in yourself is also important.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you might want to go to the VIP Fest and pay $600 for the ticket, but really and truly, when you think about what you consume $20 worth of refreshments, and was it a good investment?
Was it a good investment? Yeah, so always ask that. And again, deal with, and that's where the book come in, the Money Mind Connection. Is really a 52-week guided journal. I know we run it out of time. A 52-week guided journal.
So tell us where we can get the book, because I have a copy and that changed my life.
It's on Amazon. So it's
Okay.
structured. It's not about budgeting. It's really dealing with traumas. A lot of time, our traumas, we hold on to traumas, and that prevents us or hinders us from money and abundance and getting ahead, because sometimes we will make the money, we would lose it, we'll be afraid of it, and it's because you're holding on to trauma. So you can get it on Amazon. Wherever you can access your Amazon, is there. And so really start delving into it. This is your pocket-sized therapist. Some of y'all ashamed they want to go to therapy. This is your pocket-sized therapist. It asks you really deep questions, and it's to be done every day and weekly. And at the end, you get to list, each week you get to list your wins and your lessons. And this really help you break the stigma, the fear, any trauma that's holding you back, that you can't see your way, as Grenadians say. It helps.
Listen, this thing is mind-blowing, because a lot of people don't even understand that the traumas of your life and your childhood affects everything to your management of money and your value of everything. And that's why I like the fact that you are as honest as possible in the fact that even for you to be successful on the market, you've got to find out how you heal your entire being.
Yes.
So yes. Folk, definitely, this is not going to be Rhoda's first time on the Wake Up Club. Clubbers, I'm going to put all the details there where you can reach out to her. I want to thank you for joining us. You wanted to say something? Go quick.
I wanted to say thank you to you again, and thank you for sharing your clubbers with me. Thank you to all your supporters for welcoming me into the Wake Up Club space. Thank you to Junior and the Ride Along team. I really, really appreciate you, Kirk, and you guys for allowing me to share your space.
Listen, I have to call Lexan, because let me tell you something. That session you all did last year, I would tell you, we didn't have the great participation we were hoping for. Mm-hmm. But let me tell you something. I know that the people that were there, the women that were there, that took the time to come, found it transformational.
They did.
I was there as the only man there, and I was like, what the hell? Anytime I have a woman session, I go in and sign up. Okay?
Yeah.
Because seriously, I don't think people understand the importance, as I was talking to you, about finding your tribe and, learning from each other and listening to different people's experiences, and women, support each other. And, Rhoda alluded to it, the fact that we're so unkind on social media, okay? And we're not supporting each other, and, somebody's successful and we envy that success and don't transform ourselves to get that success. We just sit down and we hate. So we're wasting energy, and we're not investing in ourselves by sitting and hating on other people. Clubbers, of course, I always appreciate you for joining us on the Wake Up Club. I know you have options. I know you have choices. It is a terrific Tuesday. Go out there and grab the world by the horns. Have a good one, and see you on Friday. Bye, Rhoda.
See ya.
What if you had a choice? A choice of joining a line or a choice of making your purchases online? What would you choose? While you ponder on that, the National Lotteries Authority has provided another purchasing option. All their games are now available online. Yes, Grenadians! From wherever you are, purchase your favorite daily and jackpot type games using any electronic device. Register on the NLA's website at www.nla.gd. Top up your account and enjoy online lottery gaming at your convenience. We're taking shopping comfort up several notches, but the choice is yours. Join a line or buy online. NLA, make your dreams come true.
You call me to, it's the level, high the level,